So imagine spending like 950 million shillings on a stretch of road.
Okay.
Just to reach a building that only cost, 70 million shillings to construct.
Right, yeah.
On the surface, I mean, it sounds like a massive financial blunder, right? You'd think the destination should be the crown jewel of the budget, not, well, the pavement leading up to it.
It definitely looks like a typo on a ledger when you first glance at it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, we're sort of conditioned to think that the building, the actual physical structure where people gather is the most valuable asset.
Right.
But infrastructure economics, it operates on a completely different set of rules.
Well, welcome to today's deep dive. We are thrilled to have you joining us.
Absolutely.
Our mission today for you, the listener, is to look at the infrastructure economics of Kisumu County for this current financial year.
And we have some fascinating data to go through.
We really do. We're diving into a snapshot of their specific construction allocations, and we're focusing heavily on the relationship between road networks, connectivity, and local markets.
Which is so crucial.
It is. And what we're going to do is extract the profound economic story hidden within just a few massive budgetary numbers.
It's a really fascinating exercise, honestly, because numbers of this scale are never accidental.
Right.
Like when you start analyzing allocations in the billions, you're looking at the physical blueprint of a region's economic ambition.
Oh, I like that. The physical blueprint.
Yeah, you're looking at exactly how they intend to engineer momentum.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start by zooming all the way out to the macro picture.
Good idea.
Because before we get into that 950 million shilling road, we need to look at the total pool of resources.
Right, the countywide budget.
Exactly. So for this financial year, Kisumu County has a stated allocation of 5 billion shillings.
5 billion.
5 billion. And the explicit purpose of this money is to upgrade and expand the county's road network.
Right.
With the ultimate goal being, and I'm quoting here, enhancing connectivity and supporting economic growth.
Yeah, and 5 billion shillings is a formidable allocation for a single financial year.
It's huge.
It is. And those two verbs, upgrade and expand, they tell us a lot about the systemic nature of this project.
How so?
Well, they aren't just doing, like, basic maintenance, right?
Yeah.
Or filling in seasonal washouts.
It's just patching potholes.
Exactly. They are fundamentally altering the capacity of the entire county's grid.
I mean, it's sort of like upgrading a human body's circulatory system.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Like if the roads are the arteries, the money is intended to get the economic lifeblood pumping faster and further.
Precisely.
But wait, I have to challenge that premise a little bit.
Sure, go ahead.
The text explicitly links this massive 5 billion allocation to supporting economic growth. But does just throwing money at expanding a road network automatically guarantee that growth for the people living there?
That's a really fair point.
Because, 5 billion shillings just for asphalt, doesn't that seem like a massive gamble?
It sounds like it, yeah.
Like, how does laying down tarmac and gravel actually put money into the pockets of the people? You can't eat a paved road.
No, you definitely cannot. And that is the exact right question to ask, because it gets to the heart of what infrastructure actually does.
Right.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, you're absolutely right. A road doesn't produce a single thing.
Nothing at all.
It doesn't grow crops, it doesn't manufacture clothing, it doesn't, generate goods.
Okay.
But we have to look at the phrasing enhancing connectivity. That is the bridge. We're looking at the mechanism of what economists call the friction of trade.
The friction of trade. Okay. Paint a picture of what that physically looks like on the ground for us.
Sure. So imagine a local vendor or like a farmer in Kisumu County trying to move their goods to a buyer.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Without a proper upgraded road, the cost of moving that good is incredibly high. It takes hours instead of minutes to navigate deeply rutted, unpaved paths.
Right, the physical toll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The massive vibration and bumps cause severe wear and tear on their vehicles, and that leads to constant repair bills.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And if they're moving perishable goods, say tomatoes or something, a longer, rougher journey means a higher percentage of their product spoils before it can even be sold.
So they're constantly paying these invisible taxes.
Yes.
Like the broken axle, the lost time, the spoiled inventory.
Precisely. All of those physical obstacles are what we mean by friction. Friction eats into profit margins. It makes goods more expensive for the buyer and less profitable for the seller.
So nobody wins.
Right. So by allocating 5 billion shillings to upgrade and expand the network, Kisumu County is essentially buying A massive reduction in friction.
Okay, makes sense.
They're purchasing pure connectivity across the county for this financial year.
So what you're saying is the road is an enabler?
Exactly.
The 5 billion shillings isn't the economic growth itself? The money just clears the physical obstacles so the local population can actually generate that growth without being penalized by their geography.
Yes, beautifully said. The road allows velocity. Yeah, when you reduce the time and cost it takes to move goods and people, trade naturally increases.
Yeah.
Businesses can serve larger areas.
Right.
Farmers can get more fresh produce to market without it spoiling. And consumers have access to more competitive pricing.
Because the transport costs drop?
Exactly. That systemic reduction in friction is the prerequisite for the economic expansion the county is targeting.
Okay, well, that reframes the 5 billion completely for me. It's not just a construction budget, it's a county-wide efficiency upgrade.
Spot on.
But the strategy doesn't just stop at this massive high-level number. We are actually given a very specific ground-level look at how a massive chunk of this money is being deployed.
And the specific deployment is where we really see the strategy in action.
Right.
Because, you don't reduce friction evenly everywhere all at once.
Right, you have to prioritize. So here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at the microfocus.
Let's do it.
The county recently flagged off the construction of the Holo-Lela Road.
Yep.
This project is located in the Kisumu Town West Constituency, and the road is exactly 12 kilometers long.
Yes, 12 kilometers.
Just 12, and the cost for this specific stretch is 950 million shillings.
This is where we have to stop and really analyze the concentration of capital.
Yeah, because if you're doing the math in your head right now, let's break it down.
It's quite a number.
It is. You take that 950 million shillings, divide it by the 12 kilometers of road they're building, and it equates to roughly 79 million shillings per kilometer.
Wow.
Nearly 80 million shillings for every single kilometer of this specific route.
What's fascinating here is that it's a staggering tumium for a relatively short distance.
Yeah, and think about this in the context of the total 5 billion shilling macro budget.
Right.
Almost a fifth of the entire county-wide road budget for this financial year is being poured into this one single 12-kilometer stretch in Kisumu Town West.
A full 20%.
So I have to ask, does it make sense to put 20% of your eggs into a 12-kilometer basket? What makes a 12-kilometer road worth that kind of hyper-focused investment?
Well, the alternative is spreading it out, right?
Yeah, like why not distribute that 950 million across 50 different minor roads to help more constituencies?
Because spreading infrastructure capital too thin is actually a recipe for stagnation.
Really?
Yeah. If you divide that 950 million evenly across the whole county, you might fix a few potholes here and there, but you don't fundamentally change the velocity of trade anywhere.
Oh, I see.
Infrastructure economics is entirely about identifying and relieving choke points.
So you're saying this specific 12-kilometer stretch in Kisumu Town West is like a massive bottleneck for the entire region.
The data strongly implies it. Notice the language in the source. They flagged off construction.
Right, flagged off.
That denotes a highly prioritized, formalized launch. It implies deliberate action and momentum.
It's an event.
Exactly. And dedicating a fifth of their budget to it tells us that the Holo-Lela Road is structurally essential.
Okay.
Relieving the friction on this exact route likely unlocks disproportionate economic value that ripples far beyond just those 12 kilometers.
Because if a main conduit is clogged, the entire surrounding network suffers.
Exactly. Analyzing infrastructure isn't just about the total budget, it's about where the choke points are being relieved.
Okay, I want to dig into that 79 million shillings per kilometer figure, though.
It's a big number.
It is. To the average person, spending nearly 80 million shillings to pave 1,000 meters of ground sounds kind of astronomical. What is actually happening physically to command that kind of capital?
Well, we have to remember what linear infrastructure actually requires.
Linear infrastructure.
Yeah, things built in a line, like roads or railways. A 12-kilometer road is an incredibly hostile engineering challenge.
Hostile? How so?
Well, you aren't just pouring asphalt onto the dirt. You are conquering unpredictable geography.
Right, because nature doesn't want a flat, perfectly smooth ribbon of land to just exist.
Exactly. Nature fights back. The engineering reality of linear infrastructure involves massive earth moving.
Okay.
You have to survey the land, acquire the rights of way, level out gradients, blast through rock if necessary.
That sounds expensive.
And perhaps most importantly, You had to build extensive drainage systems.
Ah, water.
Water is the absolute enemy of a road. If you don't spend millions engineering proper drainage, the first heavy rains will literally wash your 80 million shilling kilometer away.
Oh, wow. So you're basically building a 12-kilometer-long foundation.
Yes, a foundation that has to support the weight of thousands of heavy commercial trucks every single day without failing.
So the high cost is really a reflection of the permanence and the durability required to make that reduction in friction actually last?
Precisely.
Because if they cheap out and spend, say, 10 million a kilometer, the road degrades in a year, the friction returns, and the economic growth halts.
Exactly. It is highly capital intensive because conquering distance in a durable way is one of the most physically demanding things a government can do.
Which brings us to the ultimate paradox of this whole deep dive.
Oh, here we go.
We've established this incredibly expensive, highly prioritized 12-kilometer artery. But roads are completely meaningless unless they actually lead somewhere.
They have to connect to something.
Right. You don't just build a 950 million shilling road to nowhere. And that leads us to the heart of the matter, the destination.
The destination is where the actual economic expansion materializes.
Right. So alongside the flagging off of the Holo-Lela Road, the text mentions there was also an inspection of the progress of the Holo Modern Market.
Yes.
And we have the specific cost for this market. And this is where the numbers get, frankly, wild.
They really do.
The Holo Modern Market costs 70 million shillings to build.
Let's let that sink in for a second.
Yeah. So what does this all mean? Let's look at the contrast. We have a 12-kilometer road costing 950 million shillings, leading to a modern market that costs only 70 million shillings to build.
Quite a gap.
The road to the market costs more than 13 times what the market itself costs. Going back to our per-kilometer breakdown, they could build the entire Holo Modern Market for less than the cost of just one single kilometer of the road leading to it.
It looks entirely lopsided on paper, doesn't it?
It seems beyond lopsided. It feels backwards.
Right.
If the market is where the people actually are, where the trade happens, shouldn't that be where the vast majority of the money goes?
This raises an important question.
I mean, why is the destination so incredibly cheap compared to the journey? Is this an imbalance, or is this exactly how infrastructure economics is supposed to work?
It's definitely the latter. There is a very strict functional reason for this, and it comes down to the fundamental difference between linear infrastructure, which we just talked about,
right, hit the road,
and point infrastructure.
Point infrastructure.
Yeah, we just discussed the massive physical battle of building a road, conquering 12 kilometers of terrain, earth moving, drainage.
That's the linear part.
Exactly. It's stretched out, vulnerable to geography, and inherently expensive.
Okay, so what is point infrastructure then?
The Holo Modern Market is point infrastructure. It is stationary.
Oh, okay.
It occupies a single concentrated footprint. Building a market requires leveling one localized plot of land, laying one foundation, erecting support columns, and building a roof.
So it's contained.
Exactly. Because it doesn't have to conquer distance, the material costs and the engineering challenges are exponentially lower. That is why it only costs 70 million shillings.
If I were to use like a computer analogy, it's sort of like looking at a massive, intricate motherboard versus the actual processor.
I love that analogy.
So like the Holo Modern Market is the processor. It's relatively small. It sits in one place, but it is the actual engine where the computation, or in this case, the buying, selling, and economic growth happens.
Yes.
But the market is completely useless without the sprawling, expensive motherboard of the road network routing the data, the people, and the goods to it.
That is an excellent way to conceptualize it. The market is the actual engine of local commerce. It's where the wealth is generated. It's where the vendor sells their inventory, where the farmer gets paid for their harvest, where local commerce thrives. But that 70 million shilling engine is completely stranded without the road.
Because if the road isn't there, no one can get to the market.
Exactly. Notice how the source puts these two actions together in one breath.
Yeah, flagged off the construction of the road, A&D inspected the progress of the market.
They are completely symbiotic. The Holo Modern Market cannot function as a modern hub of commerce if buyers and sellers have to trudge through mud.
Right.
Or if supply trucks can't reach it without breaking an axle. The market relies entirely on the 950 million shilling road to bring in goods, vendors, and buyers.
It relies on it to feed it.
Exactly. The road brings the volume of trade that justifies the existence of the market in the first place.
So the road is essentially an economic loss leader.
Oh, that's an interesting way to frame it.
Like, The county takes on the massive 950 million shilling expense of conquering the geography, absorbing that cost so that the local population can utilize the 70 million shilling market to actually turn a profit and grow the local economy.
That is the crucial insight, and they treat them as a single, unified economic strategy for this financial year.
They really are two halves of the same coin. The 950 million shilling conduit ensures that the 70 million shilling destination operates at its absolute maximum potential.
Exactly.
It proves that the size of the price tag doesn't necessarily indicate the location of the economic value.
It's a profound lesson in spatial economics, really. The highest cost is almost always associated with overcoming distance, not building the gathering place.
That makes total sense now.
The 13-to-1 cost ratio isn't an imbalance at all. It is a perfectly rational reflection of the physical reality of trade. You have to spend the billions to eliminate the friction so that the millions can be used to generate wealth.
It is so satisfying to see how these seemingly dry budget numbers actually translate into physical reality on the ground.
It really is.
If we zoom all the way back out to that initial 5 billion shilling macro budget, this specific pairing in Kisumu Town West is like a perfect miniature model of their entire stated goal.
It is?
The county wants to enhance connectivity and support economic growth. Well, the massive, expensive Holo-Lela Road provides the connectivity.
Right.
And the localized, efficient Holo Modern Market provides the economic growth.
They are proving the macro thesis with this micro-deployment. It shows a highly deliberate approach to capital allocation.
Definitely.
They understand that to stimulate the local economy, you must simultaneously build the arena for trade and fiercely optimize the pathways leading to it.
So let's bring this all together.
Let's do it.
We started today with a single snapshot of a county's financial year allocation. We unpacked a 5 billion shilling budget designed to fundamentally upgrade an entire road network.
Great.
And by looking closely at the mechanisms behind the numbers, we discovered a highly targeted strategy of engineered momentum.
We saw how public capital is used to systemically hunt down and eliminate the friction of trade.
Yes, exactly. On one side of the equation, we have the massive capital-intensive necessity of macro connectivity.
The linear infrastructure.
Right. Represented by a 950 million shilling road that requires almost 80 million shillings a kilometer just to conquer the physical terrain and keep goods moving.
Yep.
And on the other side, we have the highly localized, relatively inexpensive commercial hubs.
The point infrastructure.
Exactly. The 70 million shilling market that serves as the actual engine of wealth creation for the community.
It just reminds us that reading a budget isn't just about tallying up expenses.
Not at all.
It's about understanding the why behind them, the function of the assets being built, and how they rely on one another to survive.
It completely changes how you look at the physical world around you. Every paved road and every local market is part of an incredibly deliberate equation.
Absolutely.
Well, as we wrap up today's deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final lingering thought to explore on your own.
Something to mull over.
Yeah. We've spent this time breaking down the massive disparity in costs between the journey and the destination.
Right.
So when the dust finally settles on this financial year's infrastructure boom in Kisumu County, what will ultimately be remembered as the true catalyst for their economic expansion?
That is the big question.
Will it be the billion-shilling roads that physically forced the county to connect, or will it be the million-shilling markets where the community actually came together to trade?
It's a question that challenges us